My friends, FM26 is nearly here, so I'm going to be compressing the Sturm Graz episodes. We're not going to be doing the game by game situation. We just need to get this series wrapped up, but I want to give it its love and care because we've spent a lot of time in the series on the Journeyman and I've really enjoyed it. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you Manchester United, Juve, and Benfica and kind of doing like a highlight reel. We'll kind of update as to what happens with Wolfsburger, Salzburg, all the league games in between. Then I think in the next episode will be the wrap up of the Champions League, unless we make some kind of a crazy run. I don't know yet. I have got to get us there. But just seeing that we're up against some of these teams, I'm a little nervous about that situation. So then the episode after that will kind of be Champions League wrap up. And then I'm thinking the last episode is can we win the league? Where we sit right now, it is October 16th. We are somehow fairly evenly considered against Manchester United, which is interesting. Their squad, by the way, looks like this. They've got Ramsdale in between the sticks, De Ligt, Martinez, Aït-Nouri, Ugarte, Kobe Mainu, Havertz, Mount, Rashford, and Højlund still there. Again, you have to remember this is FM24 and it's been a while. Xavi Simons or Simons. I still see people now that he's at Spurs on the broadcast struggle with, pronouncing his name however he actually wants it pronounced. I'm not sure. We'll see how it goes. So I'm going to zoom this over really far to kind of break it down half by half. First half, it's a fairly even game. Up until that point, Manchester United has essentially created no XG. We've created even less. But it's 0-0. We're at home. They are playing a 4-4-2 diamond. And so I think, okay, we've been playing balanced in our 4-2-3-1. Let's try and overlap their wingbacks on, since we should have an advantage on the sides of the park, not in the middle of the park. They've got significantly more men in the spine than we do. And as you can see here, that ends up being an absolute disaster. They scored 2 minutes after the half, 3 minutes after that, and then 2 goals a minute apart in the 68th and 69th minute. There's really not a whole lot to show you here. I'm just going to zoom it out so you can see the whole thing. Look at their tactical map, the pass map. How spread out and perfect is that? Whereas we are compressed and squished down. They're clearly a better team. I was very suspicious that, it said, hey, we're pretty evenly considered to win. I mean, they were favored, but not overly so. But it is an absolute disaster. It's probably my fault because I went aggressive, but I was like, if we're at home and we've got, if you could, looking at the momentum was actually on our side. I was like, guys, let's go for it. And we immediately capitulate and then it's a disaster. So that's kind of how it goes. Yeah, 4-0 loss, pretty rough. The game against Salzburg goes significantly better. We are in the 43rd minute, throw in here. Maidson, this is our strongest squad coming in, chips it forward to Cvetkovic, who taps it across first time. Ball coming over, unbelievable for Mika to tap it in. We then hop forward here into the 53rd, just the turn of the 54th minute. Cvetkovic from the corner, pings one in, kind of falls to Diambu. It's into the mixer, falls to Mika, who taps it home. He's onside. And, I mean, if you look, the XG looks not so bad, right? But the match stats really kind of show you. They had 0.96 with 4 shots, 1 on target. We had 11 shots, 4 on target, 2.08 XG, 2 clear-cut chances. To be fair, they also had 2 clear-cut chances. Danil stood on his head on a 7.4, but everyone played exceptionally well. When you see green down here, just yay! And they have no green. So against a team that has historically just beaten our faces in, that was a nice feeling after. It wasn't immediately after Manchester United. We also played in the cup and did all right. But, I was kind of worried. It's this is going to be getting punched in the face continually throughout this episode. But we punched back. So as I mentioned, we did beat Wolfsburger 2-1 in the league. And we beat FC Pinzgau, which is in I believe, the second division. We played kind of a rotated-ish squad with Leandro in between the sticks, Ilhani at the right back. Luis Halstenberg, who has, it doesn't look like it right now, but he's now up to 2.5 star, and his potential is still there at 19. We're not going to get to see it because FM26 is going to interrupt this series, but I'm quite pleased with that. That takes us to the away leg at Juve. They are all over us. I'm playing balanced. I can't remember if we played the 4-3-3. I think it's still the 4-2-3-1, but I dropped the 10 into a support role. I put us on balanced as if we can somehow just survive this game, we'd be all right. We give up a silly penalty. I don't have the highlight here. It didn't look like a penalty, but it did go to VAR review, and it had the referee run all the way over, I guess, this way to the TV, and they confirmed it was a penalty, so maybe it was. Vlahovic steps up here, slots it home past Danil, but then we come back. It's the 45th minute, so we're still in the first half here. Headed forward, Svetkovic, I'm not sure who's this? Bremer, the man who is replaced eventually by Gustav in the Experiment series, which if you haven't seen, you should definitely check out, decides to not run back, and Svetkovic smashes it home. So going into the half, instead of being down 1-0, we have snuck one, and that's how the game ends. So it's a 1-1. I know I've zoomed in the screen not to show you the score line when I'm showing you the highlights. We do lose Maidson to an injury, but I want to point out, Danil gets the player of the match on a 7.5. They have 1.55 XG to our 0.62, but we escape Turin with a 1-1 draw, which I hope is important. We then go to Benfica, and I'm not going to show you the same because there was not a whole lot that happened, to be honest with you. 0.47 XG for them, 0.25 for us. 10 total shots, 6 total on target between the two teams. No clear-cut chances. We dominated possession. We played our 4-2-3-1. We're at home. I think I played positive in this game, and it was just kind of like, we played against an immovable object, I guess. Our attacking players didn't play so hot, which to me indicates that their back line probably did all right. As you can see, their keeper got the player of the match on a 7.5. As you do. Very nice. So kind of a back and forth game. We look at the analysis here. We did have all of the momentum, and I think it's like, it doesn't tell the whole story, right? If you just look at the momentum, because clearly the better chances came to Benfica's way, but we do escape there without Maidson, who's out with an injury. We'll get to that. But again, playing our normal formation with our best starting 11 minus Maidson, and you get a draw against Benfica, I think is okay in the Champions League for a club of our stature. So the injury that he picked up is a pulled hammy. He's got another week to go after having been out a week, so that's why we're still missing him. And we did win the game in between against Blau-Weiß Linz. So we have Lask, Austria Vienna, Hartberg, and then Porto, Real Madrid, Lazio, and then Vienna, who are a second division team in the Cup quarterfinal. So a heck of a run of games here. At least there is there's a week between the Champions League games and more than a week between that, because oh, by the way, I can't schedule friendlies because of the weather situation. So let me hop us forward to that. So the earliest that I can schedule a friendly is January 12th. That is the first day back from the winter break. So we've got one of those. We're going to be completely match unsharp before we're taking on Real Madrid and then Lazio. So I'm not expecting that to go very well. As you can see here, it's kind of some disappointing results. We draw against Austria Vienna and Hartberg. We beat Lask, Svetkovic with the 68th minute goal there. That leaves us currently at the top of the table in the league by 6 points, but Rapid do have a game in hand, so it could just be 3 points. I was feeling more comfortable and confident until those 3 games. And then in the Champions League, Salzburg behind us by 12 points with a game in hand, but find themselves in 17th on 8 points. We are in 25th on 6 points, but we do have, against some of the teams ahead of us, including Salzburg, a game in hand. Again, Lazio in 28th is probably, I would say, the deciding game for us. Porto, though, just on 8 points as well, so they're not that significantly ahead of us in the standings. You're saying there's a chance? Because, yeah, Real Madrid is in second on 13 points. Not expecting to win that one. Of course, in the last season that we're playing at FM24, we get an excellent youth intake while all this is going on and taking us back to December 1st. We have a forward who could be considered a fine prospect, 3 strikers coming through that look good. Disappointing. And also on the same day, the board comes to me. I didn't go to them and says, do you think we should give you more transfer budget? And I was like, sure, because you never know. You get to the January window, maybe you want to reinforce. I think we have a pretty solid squad. And to be honest with you, I've kind of been scouting, who cares? Because this is the last season. But they take us from 2.97 to 7.37 million. I'm wondering if that has something to do with the bank balance, because we've been doing really well, well enough. We're earning income from having been in the Champions League. I just thought that was kind of interesting. So that's where we're going to leave it, my friends. Next episode will be Porto, Real Madrid, Lazio, and maybe an update on what happens with Vienna. Unless we somehow, I don't think the next phase of the Champions League would happen immediately after that, but you never know. I haven't looked because I'm not expecting to do that. I actually don't even know what happens if you don't make the top 8. I guess it's to the knockout playoff round. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Thanks again if you've made it this far in the episode. We'll see you next time.